Do you ever go to card shows and you feel like it's it's just not personable? So like over the last 2 months, I've been to maybe what 4 or 5 card shows around our area, and a couple of them stand out to me. So one of them was the one in, I think it's like Burlingame or something like that. It was like off like near the hotel area. So I went with a couple of friends, and going with friends is always a great time because I feel like all of us get to do our own thing, but when something enticing comes up or something or someone needs help with like getting an idea and bouncing ideas off each other, that's the best part. You call each other up like, hey, come on over, what do you think about this? And I wanted to get your thoughts on it because it's just your friends, you trust them, right? So you trust their insights and everything like that. And so the only problem that I've been having with like car shows in the last like 2 months is I feel like a lot of the vendoring around feels very not personable. And what I mean by that, it's like if you go to the bigger shows, like I've been to a front row before, I don't expect anyone to know anybody unless you're like a very well known person or you grew up in that person's like hometown or anything like that. But I feel like when we're in like the Bay Area, times you see all these people, it's the same vendors. It's the same people. It's there's no it's on the same people that show up every weekend. But for the most part, when we come on around and we look at each other, it's like I get it. There's like a lot of people that go on by, and I get how popular it is. I get how like there's just so many people walking on by. But for the most part, I feel like some people just don't want to get to know each other. That makes sense. And like that's always been my thing. Like for some reason, maybe I'm like delusional or something like that, but when I used to work in customer service and sales and such like that, I tried my absolute hardest to remember everybody else that I meet, and especially in the food industry, I try to even remember your orders. I know that's asking for a lot, but like I feel like that experience, the experience is what I enjoy the most. So when I first started attending shows this year, that was everything to me. Was I met some of the great vendors from around our area, and we still chatted up to this day. I tell them I remember the first time I bought a card off of them, and it wasn't even just the card itself, because cards come and go, right? You trade, you buy, and you sell. That's the whole thing about this. But the experience is what stood out the most, and I feel like we're not really getting that experience around our area nowadays because majority of times I've been to shows and I go past tables, like people barely even look at each other in the eyes. You're always on your phone comping cards, or you're just trying to willy nilly a price, or you barely even have a discussion with them. You're just like, how much you want for this? What's the lowest you can do? It's like stuff like that, and it's like it's there's no connection building nowadays inside our area. At least that's just how I feel. You can tell me how you feel in the comments. But that's something that I've noticed very heavily this year. And for a fact, I remember almost 90% of the transactions that I do for all my cards and all the people that I buy from. And I get it, it might not be as much as what everybody else does, but I consider myself buy sell trade too, just like everybody else. I just don't stand behind a table like everybody else. But I remember exactly who I dealt with for what cards, where things rotate, because I laugh all the time when I see a card that I graded myself and it's in rotation from one vendor to another to another to another. I think that's hilarious. I get it. Everyone's trying to make a buck. Everyone's trying to try to get more from what they got it for. I get that. So I respect that. I respect everyone's hustle and everything else that they want to do with it. But the part that really does blur to me is the experience, and I don't see that as often as maybe I'm just not around it or anything like that. But there's a big reason why like these popular vendors that you see on YouTube, Jar Chomp, Bulbasaur, Oyama from around here, like they make the experience very well memorable. And I think that's what makes these guys stand out more than so many others. Because, yeah, like I went to a recent card show this past weekend. I just came back from Westgate, and that's kind of like what it felt like. I felt like every vendor's just sitting there, just waiting for someone to come up, just to wait for someone to just offer something on their table, which I get. Like that's the only time you would probably interact with them, but I feel like it really lacks that connection that I would think people would have. And so it's been hard. Like I'm not just because a vendor has a card that I want doesn't necessarily mean I'm gonna buy it off of them. I could care less about the price because there's so many different cards out there. I can always move on to the next card, or I can always get it another time. But I feel like nowadays I only want to buy cards if that experience is met. And if it's not met, then I could care less, to be honest. Am I looking too much into this? I don't know. But I think that's always been my thing about just things in general. It's hard to support or buy something off somebody if the experience is not there. Because I know for damn sure if someone's ever a little off with me, or they are, in crazier terms, like just rude, I would never sell them the card. I don't care how much money they're paying. It just doesn't feel right. But I guess nowadays with the economy being so crazy and everyone else needing to pay bills and all that stuff, I get it. Everything just becomes a peer-to-peer invoice transaction. Nothing feels personable. Nothing feels memorable. And I think that's my biggest gripe with everything, and probably why I don't know what I want to collect anymore right now. The only thing I am collecting, and I'm very, very big on this right now, and this is because a good friend of mine is, I want to collect all the fire red and relief green reverse hollows, but I want them in my binder. And slabs are great, but take up a lot of space. So I do want to look for reverse foils, fire red, leaf green, collect those in my binder. But the main thing that I want to do with this whole collection is to use it to meet people and just share the love of the hobby for everybody. If you see in my old video, I went to go grade all the primes that I got in my binder a long while back. Why? I don't know. I probably lost a lot of money on it. I could care less. The main thing, the reason why it was so memorable is because every time I bought a prime, my goal was to not buy it online. My goal was to go to a vendor table, find it, meet everybody with it, and share the love of the hobby. And I think that's what I'm trying to say in this video is collect what you like. Don't ever let anyone tell you it's not cool or whatever it is. And one of my favorite lines growing up is don't ever let anyone yuck your yum. Do what you want to do, collect what you want to like, how you want to collect it, do all that. I hope people think about the experience more than just the money aspect of the whole thing, because it leaves a very good impression, and it's just pretty much just be a nice person, just be a great human being, just talk to people. I feel like so many people are so stuck behind a screen all the time. So many people are just locked on their phone and doing all that. They can't have normal conversations. And so that's what I hope more people tend to do at these shows or just in general, because one of the things that I love to do with a bunch of my friends is I like to go get a drink. We just sit around and just chat it up, and that's what I hope people to do. So I hope everyone has an incredible holidays. We'll see what the next year brings. I'm hoping I can be behind one of the tables and meet those that even watch this video or not. But I just want to meet people, talk about stuff, have a good time, and just make laugh and long memories. So, bye bye.